employment expert from cv.co.nz, Tom O'Neill. Tom, kia ora. How are you?
Morena, my friend.
Is it real, or is it a perception that that if there's multiple candidates for a job, and one of them's a bright young thing, and the other's seen more than a few winters, that the younger person's more likely to get the job? That's a better investment for the employer than somebody who's perhaps an old dog that can't learn new tricks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the perception a lot of people have. But realistically, I mean, it comes down to the role, firstly. I mean,
Yep.
no one wants a 18-year-old CEO, realistically. And it's quite funny. I do a lot of work with sort of older, I'll say more mature
Yep.
clients, in their, 40s and 50s. And they're all saying to me, look at those bright young things, brand new degree, real social media, aware, really onto it. Just great, how do I compete with that,
Yep.
And then I work with young people. And they're all, I've just graduated, but man, I'm going against people who have got, 20, 30 years experience in the industry, who have got all the connections, who know about it, in a practical sense. How do I compete with that? And so we're all looking at each other thinking the grass is always greener on the other side.
Certainly, and hey, I may be in the sweet spot, actually, Tom, because I'm in my early 20s with at least 30 years experience. So
that's what I've always thought about.
I'm very hireable right now. Not that I'm looking for work in that regard, but hey, even if you're not in the job market, is it the case that sometimes older workers, even if they do have the experience, are overlooked for promotion because they don't have perhaps as much time before their best by date? That it's not worth investing in older people for more senior positions because they're wanting to upskill younger staff, perhaps?
Oh, look, that's always been the case for some roles. They've got someone who they want to nurture through the organisation, maybe put on an MBA track, for senior executive leadership. And to be quite frank, if you're 60, that's probably, they're not going to probably blow, 20 grand on an MBA for you. But if you're looking to retire at 65, it's just, unfortunately, it's just the facts. At the same time, you'd really hope that your employer is going to treat every application fairly. Can't always say that's the case, but you'd always hope that if you're the best person for the job internally, you would get the job. There are other, there are mitigating factors. It might be moving into a space of AI, moving into a space of, as I said before, more social media savvy, those sort of things. Well, then, that's potentially where that young person would have an edge, potentially, if they've been invested in those areas. But at the same time, there's no reason why someone in their 50s or 60s can't be doing, AI. I mean, I'm 54. I just did a Google Essentials AI course a couple of weeks ago online through Google. It was fascinating. But again, if I was hitting the job market, that'd be the first thing, top of my CV. I'm AI aware. I'm coming... I'm someone who's up to date with new technology. And again, for an older person, more mature person, doing things like that, these courses are online, being able to say, I did an AI course just recently, really helps take that, I won't say stigma of age, but I will say potentially that branding issue away.
It's not just the stigma. I think let's look at the financial aspect, and it depends on what your workplace structure is. But if somebody, asking for a friend here, somebody's been with an organisation for many, many decades, there may have been incremental wage increases over a period of time, so that an older person's hourly rate is quite a bit higher, perhaps, than somebody who has newly entered the job market. As I say, different workplaces structure this in different ways. Is that a barrier in itself? Because honestly, somebody may already be on a significant salary. If we promote them, then this is going to blow our wage budgets for next year. Whereas if we promote a more junior person, it's not going to have as big an impact.
Let's be honest, money talks. Again, you just really hope that the role is relevant to the person who gets it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, Jack's on, 20 grand less than Lisa. And, they're both pretty comfortable and confident, and, you're looking to fast track Jack to other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, that's just part of how it is, unfortunately, particularly at the moment when, we're really, organisations are really cash strapped, to be able to potentially move someone up who will do it for a bit less is unfortunately always a winner, for someone else who's doing a similar type role but earning considerably more.
I mean, if it was to do with gender, I mean, you mentioned that particular example. If they were favouring the male candidate rather than the female candidate, then there's something which can be done about that. And it's also problematic, of course, if somebody from a particular cultural or racial background is promoted ahead of somebody else. Is there anything around the ageism thing? Is there anything that you can do about it if you say, I feel I'm being unfairly treated because of my age, or is this something which is perhaps not as highly regulated?
Yeah, it's a great point. I don't think it is. I mean, it's not as highly regulated, I think, to some degree. It's a lot easier to go, this is my background. Hey, look, I haven't been given a fair shake here. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, gee whiz. Suddenly there's some pretty serious issues there, systemic issues within the organisation.
Yep.
For an older person, unfortunately, you tend to not have quite the same recourse, I think, in some respects, just in terms of general culture. But I think, again, equal employment opportunity law would always state that the best person for the job should get the job. I mean, if I suddenly felt that I'd missed out because of my age, I'd certainly, want to push that with HR and my boss. You always be respectful, be, positive. But again, remembering your achievements and sharing your achievements with the employer, particularly in the last 12 months to really help them understand. Unfortunately, at that stage, it's also a bit tricky now because, Lisa's got the job and, now Lisa's your boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Now really having to say, well, Lisa shouldn't have the job at the same time working for Lisa and trying to have a positive, relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it is a tricky one, and honestly, you may think that the reason you didn't get the job is because of your age, but actually it might be because you're a grumpy old geezer that doesn't get on well with other people and isn't really a team player and hasn't been for years. So honestly, be careful which doors you knock on in that regard, because you might not be that happy with the reply.
Hearing the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Hey, good wisdom and advice as always. And hey, for any of these obstacles in terms of discrimination in the workplace, of course, there's ways of presenting yourself. There's ways of fronting up for a job application or an interview which can perhaps counterbalance that. For more information on that, of course, cv.co.nz, a great place to start. And Tom, thank you so much for the work you do. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure. God bless.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.